afternoon, viewers. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome once again to the Women's Show on Civic Space TV. It's amazing to be here, and I hope you had a great weekend. Yes, thank you for always tuning in with us. Today, I will be the host. My name is Poni Ayikoru. I know you've not been seeing me at all as a host, but as a panelist and in other spaces on Civic Space TV. But I'll be so excited to share with the panelists today as well. I have a great panel of young, energetic, and amazing women on the space, yes? Young because you've seen all of them on the Women's Show and on other programs of Civic Space TV. I will be introducing them, and if they want to add more in the introduction, maybe as they speak, I'm sure they will. Yes. Starting from the person next to me, she's called Ruth Kitamirike. She's an amazing speaker and currently Minister of Gender at Makerere University. She's also a finalist of the School of Law. So she'll be an amazing lawyer to be very soon. Yes. Ruth, do you want to say hi?
Hello, viewers. I am happy to be here and I can't wait to delve into the conversation tonight.
Nice, thank you. And the next person is Sheila, Aromorach. Fancy is also a force to reckon with. She's a peer here on the space. We're happy to see her. She's a feminist lawyer and a gender advocate. She's also an assistant program associate at Gallup Initiative, Uganda. As you can see, she looks very elegant today. Fancy, say hi to the viewers.
Hello, viewers. Glad to be here one more time.
Nice. Thank you. And the last person over there is Atuhaire Joan. She's also an amazing person and former debater. She's going to tell us where probably debate ended.
That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. But we're so happy to have you again on the Women's Show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and Joan is a feminist, an ardent feminist with no ifs, no buts, just like all the elegant women here. She's also a community psychologist and she recently graduated.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations again. It's amazing. As you can see, the panel is powerful and massive. And to the young women out there that are viewing the Women's Show, we can't wait to share with you. If you have any views, you can drop them in the comment section, say hello to them and interact with us as well. Straight up to our topic today on the role of mentorship in the women's movement. That is something I think we have talked about for so many times. I'm happy the panel we have here, I'm sure some of them are mentors or they're being mentored, but I already can't wait to hear from them. Yeah. You know, we have heard about mentorship briefly as a chain of growth, or where we have skills to be learned, probably leadership skills or skills in whatever profession that you're doing. Yeah. And many people say that with leadership or in the women's movement, learning and growing is really imperative. You cannot run away from it because it's an evolution. Without wasting any time, and because we are all eager to hear from you, the panelists today, I'll start from Atuhaire Joan to share with us, to you, what is mentorship? What does it feel like to be mentored or to mentor?
Thank you so much. I think mentorship is very, very essential. Not because people keep saying we need mentors, but actually it's inspired by past thinking that through mentorship, people are able to learn and adopt new and better ways of doing things. So when you have a mentor, it's like having someone who will show you direction, someone who will guide you, but also someone who will help raise your consciousness, especially, for instance, in feminist thinking, where you need to be conscious about so many things, you know? You need to know that life is hard, and it's indeed hard. You need to know you're going to meet hurdles along the way, and this is how you're supposed to tackle it. But also for the essence of sisterhood, for instance, you know? Mentorship is very important, and it plays a key role in terms of shaping and honing how we understand society and development at large.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Thank you so much. Joan mentions the point of sisterhood and, of course, honing society, and we shall really delve in that shortly. But then we also want to hear from Fancy Sheila. What is mentorship like to you, and why is it important to have mentorship?
I think not differing from Joan's, really getting direction. The world has a lot that's happening. There's so much opportunities, so many challenges. And so you do not want to be the one that is walking alone. And so mentorship comes in as a form of direction, a form to help you merge up and figure out, how do I grab that opportunity? How do I stay away from that challenge? How do I face this? So mentorship is like that particular mechanism, or that dress that you need to put on to walk through this road.
Called life.
This road called life.
That's a
okay,
nice
dress up right. This road called life. That has challenges, opportunities, and all that. And I think it's really important, because then it helps in terms of resources, time, and not missing out, and simply living life in the best form.
Nice. Okay, I can see all the panelists also agree with that. And so Ruth, Kitamirike will also tell us, what is mentorship like to you? Is there any unique form of mentorship? Are there types of mentorship?
Thank you so much, Kaish, and thank you, Fancy and Joan. For me, mentorship, it's an opportunity for you to walk a journey with someone who has been there before you. I have had the opportunity to read the African Feminist Charter, and the charter is clear that as a women's movement, as people in these spaces, we must be intentional about creating intergenerational links. So mentorship is sort of a bridge, a way to bridge the gap that is existent between a younger generation and an older generation. A little before I hand over the floor to Pesh, you see society has classes, and it's stratified on various forms of classes. And one of the strata in society, it's that age gap. It could be age, it could be the class, it could be the financial, but there is always a variation in generations. Patience could be younger than me, but she could be having a knowledge in a particular area that she knows better than I do. So mentorship sort of creates a bridge or a channel for us to exchange knowledge and to create that interconnectedness in generations. And I think it's a very beautiful initiative for us to have as women in these spaces.
Wow, that's great. And Ruth mentions a point of mentorship being two-way. And that is why even our topic today, for those who have joined us, this is the Women's Show, and you're watching an amazing panel talking about the role of mentorship in the women's movement. I think it's amazing to have such talks. So it brings me to the whole concept of mentorship being two-way and being direct and indirect. Fancy, do you want to say something about that, especially with your experience? You can chip it in. Have you mentored people before, or are you being mentored? You can probably give a shout out to your mentors. and of course, just a follow up on that would be, what's your perspective on mentorship being two-way in your experience?
Awesome. So yes, I have been mentored, and I think I'm still being mentored. It never ends. It's like a full-time, lifelong journey. Lifelong journey. So yes, I've been mentored, and my particular one mentor, diehard personality, is Monica Nyiraguhabo, the executive director of Gallup Initiative Uganda. And also, I really believe mentorship is a thing around passion. And that is like what we run our space around, Gallup Initiative. And it gives me joy to always see, different feminist spaces, different organizations, have a little bit of that in their programming. It might not be the core thing, but there's a little bit of that, because it's something that is just growing. We didn't have it then, or maybe we had it, but we didn't know. But I don't think we had it. We now have it. Like now it's named, and this is mentorship in whatever form that is coming. So Gallup Initiative Uganda is passionate about mentorship. Like that's one of its passions. And so in all our programmings is a little bit of mentorship. And after the mentorship, you who have been mentored, you become mentors to the rest. So I was a mentee, and now I am a mentor to the rest of the beneficiaries at the moment.
Wow.
So of course, it's a two-way thing. One, for of course the mentee, but also the mentor, gets to understand, because as you go up, you're leaving everything behind. That's my idea. You're leaving everything behind, so you don't even want to know what's happening, and yet that's something you wouldn't have known if you didn't have a mentee.
Yes.
So ideally, it draws you to understanding how things are happening around, that time for that generation and things around that, but also really still being in the know of particular things and particular happenings. And also really in terms of resources, depending, a two-way thing in the sense that depends on the kind of mentorship you are practicing.
Okay.
I don't want to make it sound so technical. Shouldn't be so science rocketing. So it's the kind of mentorship that's happening. Yes. So it at times it's really one way. If it's like, depends on your relationship with your mentor. But if you're doing probably group and it's Penny is mentoring, Poni is mentoring the three of us. The relationship, we are peers, but then you could find it could be 70-year-old mentoring a 21-year-old, like true. The relationship.
But what is the ideal kind of mentorship? Do you have an ideal that has worked for you? Maybe someone out there could.
Yes, peer-to-peer. Okay. It's very strong.
Nice. Yeah.
But then also intergenerational, cross-generational.
Okay.
That one is also really strong. Yes. Very, very important and very strong. Depending on how it would come a group or just one-on-one, it's absolutely strong.
Okay. Yes. So I think that will take me to asking a question to Joan Patience on the peer mentorship. Have you gone through mentorship or with any specific house or organization in the women's movement? And then maybe you could tell us your experience with peer-to-peer mentorship and giving a shout out to your mentors or mentees.
What if my mentors abandon me?
You will share the experience.
Anyway, I've had a good experience with mentorship.
Yes.
I was recently mentored under the African Women's Leadership Institute by Akina Mama.
Oh, yes.
And then I was also mentored, I think, by Frederick Ebert Stiftang under their Young Leaders program in 2019. Yeah, I was also mentored by the Young Women's Alliance for Human Rights. Yeah, it has been a beautiful experience. And I think it leads me to what Ruth said about how in our society today, you need to find a way of climbing those different social class stratifications that are there. So when you have a mentor, you may not have access to a certain level of privilege like finances. Maybe there are job opportunities out there that you need to get to know. So it's only through that mentor that you'll get to know, oh, there is this fellowship, oh, there is this program. This is how you can do it better. You don't have to, for instance, start from local council level. You can go straight and vie for member of parliament position. So for me, the role that mentorship has played is to just sort of show me the clear path to jump all those stratifications that I need to jump to reach the goal that I need to arrive at. And then in terms of peer-to-peer mentorship, I believe in community. Having a community is everything. So like if I want to push out something, if I want to push out an initiative, the easiest way to do it is through my peers.
Okay.
I'll reach out to them because we have a like-minded spirit around us. So I'll reach out to them for support and they'll always come through. And in that way, my things never flop. And things like that. So it's important for us as peers, for us to support the initiatives that we are driving to, but for the intergenerational mentorship to serve the purpose of linking us to opportunities. Yeah.
That's amazing. So from the interaction we have had here, viewers, you can clearly know that peer-to-peer mentorship is very important and it really builds who we are. I mean, it's the basis. You have a support system of sisterhood, before even looking out of the family or the circle that you have. And then we have also learned to walk the journey with the people we have around us. Sheila has shared with us how she has been molded by Girl Up Initiative Uganda in their mentorship circle, and she is now also a mentor to other people. So Ruth,
yes, please.
Maybe you could share with us as well how mentorship has impacted on you. Do you have an experience and maybe a shout out to your mentors, mentees?
I actually didn't shout out.
Oh, you didn't.
You did a general one.
Right. My recent mentor is called Maxensia.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So I shout out to her. I am also mentored by Dr. Sam Balamaga. He works with Maristops.
Okay.
So I deeply honor and respect them. I'm also mentored by very many sisters, Maria Alessi, Isabella Kiteng. Yeah. So I deeply honor them and their contribution.
That's nice. So the viewers out there, I hope the mentors watch this show. But if you come and watch, trust me, you're seeing your girls shining right here. So Ruth, maybe you can give a shout out to your mentors and share how mentorship has impacted on your life to being Minister of Gender.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Personally, I joined the women's spaces when I was 18 years old.
Nice.
You know, like people have different forms of passage into adulthood.
Yes.
For me, that was my passage.
Wow.
That is what I should say. And that began with Akina Mama wa Africa, where I attended the African Women Leadership Institute. That was the September 2019 cohort. And it was amazing. I was joining these spaces for the first time. They took us away and we learned a lot of things. And at the end of the day, everyone had to be paired with a mentor. And I think one of the things they looked at as we're being paired with mentors is your passion as a person. What do you look at? Where do you want to be in life? So, and I think that's very important, that before you reach out to someone or before you start a mentorship relationship with someone, your goals and ambitions should be sort of related with what you want to get from this mentor. I was attached to a mentor. She is Elizabeth Ampire. She's now she's still working with Forum for Women in Democracy as a programs manager. It has been a beautiful journey. I'm still journeying. I'm still working with Elizabeth to date.
Wow.
In the first year, it was quite complicated because I didn't know as a mentee my obligations in this relationship. And we are all lawyers here. We are all lawyers.
Yes, we actually.
So you understand that for any relationship to happen, there must be rights and obligations and duties that accrue to that particular relationship. So the same happens in a mentorship relationship. There is a duty. There is an obligation. You must be accountable. If you, one thing I must mention, I think one of the things that on which a mentorship relationship thrives is accountability. That you'll be willing to give feedback. If they tell you to read this book, what have you learned? What have you picked out from the book? So that is the journey. And when I learned that, we had to revise and we did a second year with Elizabeth. And on the second year, it was a year of making things right, having our relationship go on smoothly. And oh my God, it has been the smoothest journey. It has been the most, it's a lot of learning on board, a lot of opportunities every day here and there. And I also have a second mentor, that is Eunice Musime, the ED of Akina Mama Africa.
Nice.
She also picked me on as a mentee, and it's also been amazing. One of the things I must credit my mentor Eunice for is the love for reading and writing. With Eunice, we are a group of 5 women that she is mentoring. And every time she will ask you to journal, she will ask you to, maybe the week has ended, would you love to have a blog about it? We are reading this book. What are you learning from Smart Money Woman? You see, it is a beautiful journey. And every time you have an interaction with your mentor, there is always something that comes, there is an addition of value that comes to you. And my third mentor, sending out shouts to Maria Alessi.
Nice.
Maria Alessi, it's beautiful, it's amazing, she sort of incorporates us in her circle, and it's amazing. So mentorship is a beautiful journey. I would encourage any young lady out there with ambitions to have a space to which she is accountable. That you have someone who will follow you up on your goals for a month. That way we are creating links for smooth growth. And also to see that, borrowing from Professor Tamale's book, Decolonization and Afrofeminism, we must be intentional as Africans to see that the stories that we have, that the experiences that we have are recorded for the next generation to read. And mentorship is one of the ways through which knowledge is passed from one generation to another.
Wow, that's amazing. And our viewers right there, you can hear from the panelists and see that part of the points that we are taking home today is that accountability is really key in mentorship spaces. And the obligations, one of the things I noted down was, when you're in a mentorship, most people think it's about getting the money and, you know, the gifts. But I think we're changing that narrative as the panelists here, or the people that are here on today's show, that it's not just about the money, it's not just about the benefit. You're also giving to your exactly. So I would probably also give a shout out to Trisha Gloria Navarre. Yes, she has been my youngest mentor and a peer mentor. Yes, she's been amazing. Maria Alessi has also cut across, I can see. And then of course Dr. Miriam Matembe has also been my mentor for quite a long time. But now, to continue with the conversation, and for those who have just joined in, you're watching the Women's Show. We have a young, vibrant, amazing panel right here, and the topic is on the role of mentorship in the women's movement. And talking about that, now, Fancy, I want to ask a question on what is the role of organizations in mentorship, and how should it be done by these organizations?
So, picking from Ruth.
Yes.
So, of course, there's like, you need to know what you want and where you're going. Okay, how you start, where you're going, and what you want. So if you're an organization, and ideally there's this that you want from your beneficiaries, or there's this particular package you have for them, to be able to, you know, get it to them, and then impact sustainability of them mentoring, you know, the mentorship continuing, and, you know, you build a great sisterhood, then you need to figure out what form of mentorship you'd ideally use as an organization. Are you going to do it Akina Mama's way? You mentor them like for a week, and then you give them mentors after, you know, individually. Or you're going to do a whole year, then groups. I've seen Civic source.
Oh yes,
exactly.
Yes.
I've seen something like exactly.
It's
so
amazing.
There's that new one. Exactly. You want to do it that way, or you simply want to say, oh, there's this, you know, mentorship program. Come and, you know, we allocate you mentors. Or you simply want to say, guys, as in a school form, please find mentors. So what you want determines what kind of form of mentorship you, you know, love to apply as an organization. And of course, really, I remember I mentioned that it excites me to find out that, you know, a few of the organizations actually have mentorship a part of their systems. It might not be core programming, but it's something they use to pass on their message, to implement their programs. And so just from what Ruth said, like mentorship, Ruth and Joan have said, mentorship is like the way to pass on information, or a sustainable way to carry on impact. To have lasting impact, we need to have mentorship as an organization, whether it's a political organization, whether it's a food agriculture organization. You need mentorship. Whether it's a circle, you need mentorship. Church, you need mentorship. Oh my Lord.
We can't do away with
it. We cannot find what particular form of mentorship that you need for what, you know, for the impact that you intend to create. So it is the way to be able to have sustainable development in any particular way, regardless of the conversation that you're going to have. You need mentorship.
Wow, that is so great. And you see, from the discussion we're having here, you realize that mentorship is not only for the profession you're in. I know you're probably watching and seeing lawyers, but trust me,
I'm a psychologist.
Oh, lawyers and the psychologist, but it does not only represent their profession here. Their views are representing all of us young people out there, and so the different perspectives. And with what Sheila has just said, I want to pick on your mind, Joan, Patience, on the role of mentorship in the women's movement, aside from just the organizations, as Sheila has talked about. How has it impacted the women's movement? Are there identifiers to show maybe from where we are from and where we're going?
I think, importantly, like, mentorship is so important in the women's movement, and it has served an amazing role. Like, mentorship has been the pillar of the women's movement. If there was no mentorship, then the women's movement would not exist.
Be here.
Because in terms of building numbers, we needed older women to come down and educate the younger women and teach them about, for instance, the need for the women's struggle, or the urgent need to have feminist action taking place. So in Uganda as well, we really needed mentorship. And we've seen the older women playing their role, coming down to, you know, facilitate the women who are in their 80s. They still come down to have conversations and talk about what the women's struggle was then and what it is now. But also for me, it really plays a critical role in terms of building consciousness, because we need to be woke and aware, especially as a women's movement. I know we are constantly fighting patriarchy. So one of the conversations I was having with my mentor this week, I texted her and I asked her, do you also question your individual politics sometimes? Because this is like a demon all of us struggle with. From time to time, you need to remind yourself and say, I have actually deviated from this path and I need to come back in line. So I think having someone you can have these conversations with and say, I have failed in this aspect, how do I rise again, is really important in the women's movement, because the women's movement is not, it's not about so much theory, but actually feminism as practice. How are you treating your sisters? How are you pushing for the women's agenda in the different positions that you occupy? Yeah, so I think we can see results now.
Yes.
We can
really
see.
do.
At least I see you.
And all the panelists here.
Yes. So for us to be able to be in these spaces and amplify our voice for the women's cause is a product of mentorship.
You know? That's so true.
Yeah.
And Joan mentions a very key point, because we are products of the women that were there before us.
Yeah.
And I'm very sure there are women going to come after us who are also going to be a product of us. And I believe this space as well is already kudos to, you know, Dr. Sarah Birete for creating such a space, in that we have mentorship for ourselves and the entire Center for Constitutional Governance and Civic Space TV. And that takes me to Ruth.
Yes, please.
Now, I've been thinking of this question. We have talked about the role of mentorship in organizations and also in the women's movement at large, individually. But then, are there times where you lose touch with mentors? Is it allowed to lose your mentor? Like, and you're like, my journey is done. Can I start another one?
Life?
Or must you force life? Yes. Do you have a perspective on that?
I don't know if I have let me tell you from my experience. I nearly lost my mentor, as I told you at first. My relationship with in the first year, it wasn't working out because I had all these ambitions and I didn't know that I had an obligation of, say, accountability in this relationship. So I think mentorship, just like any other action taken in the women's spaces, has to be deeply intentional. So that way you will know what your mentor wants, and as a mentee, what do you have to do towards it? And it's also commitment. You know that after this mentorship journey, I'm going to be attached to another young woman who I am going to mentor. If I'm passionate about the growth of the women's movement, I'm going to take my season under this mentorship, if it's a 1-year program, seriously, because I know I have to transfer this information to another person. So moments are there when people can lose touch with their mentors or even their mentees. Some of our mentors are very busy people, we must acknowledge. But it is when one of my mentors, Eunice Musime, was starting out the relationship. And one of the things she usually says about mentorship is that the strength of your relationship with your mentor, or the mentee-mentor relationship, is entirely hinged on what you bring on the table. So if my mentor sees that there is nothing important I'm bringing on the table, then they're not going to be motivated to push me forward. So you must show that you're willing, you are ready to be, you're teachable, you're ready to learn and unlearn, you're ready to bring forth results, because mentorship is to bring results. It's not just a pastime activity. So I think you can lose touch, but just like any other thing, it's meant to be a deeply intentional relationship.
Nice. That is a very key point I am picking. And our viewers out there, you're watching the Women's Show, and the topic today is the role of mentorship in the women's movement. And from our amazing discussion here, we can see that mentorship has to be really intentional, and it has the question of what you bring forth. That is why I think sometimes when you're being paired, even in the organizations, the role they play in mentorship. They pair you up or put you in a group with mentors who can impact on your life and make you grow, so that we have a big force to reckon with. And that is why the women that were there before us look down and they're so proud at what we are doing. And I hope it doesn't end with us here. I hope we take up the mantle and actually mentor other people if you have not yet already started. And to the viewers out there, we hope you're taking mentorship very seriously. Tell us your views about the role of mentorship. We are going to break and get back with the topic of discussion, which is on the role of mentorship. We want to hear from you, share your experiences and how best we can do it. In the next half, we shall talk about what difficulties are faced and what solutions are there. And then briefly also have an icebreaker of the current decision of Roe versus Wade on abortion. You know, women cannot sit and talk about their growth without speaking about a little bit of the challenges on the side. Thank you so much.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media, or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
You're very welcome back from the break, our viewers. We hope you had an amazing break. And the first half of the panel was really amazing. For those who have just joined us, this is the Women's Show. And we are talking about the role of mentorship in the women's movement. As you can see, we already have an impact of mentorship in the women's movement on the panel. Yes, and that is not really blowing the trumpets. It is really evident from their life journey. Well, before the break, we were talking about the role of organizations in mentorship, how they should do it, and the fact that mentorship has been very impactful. It happens both ways, and there's peer-to-peer mentorship as well, and it should be intentional. That is a summary of that, but you should definitely watch it. And for now, we're going to talk about the difficulties that I faced. So I want to start from Joan, Patience, again, from where we started from at the beginning. Yes. Are there any difficulties in mentorship or even within these organizations or in the women's movement? And what are these difficulties?
I think from my personal experience, the first challenge that I faced was being on a totally different page with my mentor.
Okay.
Like my first mentor was in a totally different field of life. And it just sounded nice to have a mentor. Like, it doesn't matter what they're mentoring me about, I have a mentor. Yes. So, as a result, we would meet and just check in. Hi, how are you doing? Next, you know, you're talking about relationships, and it's not really a target-based arrangement. So, because of that, we had challenges. And also, because it was a group sort of mentorship, most of the people in the group felt like whenever we meet on this call, it was a morning call. So whenever we meet on this call, people are just talking about, now I've left my family, now this one has died. Like So eventually it had an emotional toll on the members, and it didn't succeed in that way. So I think one of the difficulties is not having a structured sort of mentorship where everyone knows the end goal of the mentorship and also the duration.
Okay.
And then another challenge that I faced with my mentor was having different values and different belief systems. So as a result, you'll find yourself clashing with your mentor. For you, you believe, for instance, you're maybe, let's say, pro-life and you're working within the sexual reproductive health rights space, and your mentor is a conservative Christian, and is not interested in listening or supporting your journey towards growing into a particular space.
Yeah.
So that can also be a very toxic environment, and it will send you down in a downward path. Yeah, so it's important for you to assess some of those things. And then the other challenges that I experienced from my side, because I wasn't aggressive the first time I had a mentor. I was just excited to have a mentor.
Were you reluctant or
no, about the accountability that
okay.
Ruth talked about. I didn't know how to account to someone. Like how am I just freelancing through my life and you're asking me to account for what?
Yes.
Right? Like for instance, then I was a student. So I'm a student. Like what do you want me to account for? Maybe someone in employment can say, I've been able to make this amount of money. I've been able to join this. But me, I literally had next to nothing. So for me, I just came to understand that maybe I needed to account in terms of small things, like I've been able to read this book. I've been able to join this fellowship. This is how it's going. Yeah. And then I have a male mentor. So I'd like to also speak to have
please do. I was actually going to ask, is it really, must it necessarily be women being mentored by women? It's the women's movement, but there are also men who are mentored by women as well. Sure. So tell us about that.
So professionally, I have had a very good experience with having a male mentor.
Okay.
Because all we talk about is business. But I also can't disregard the fact that sometimes women look out for male mentors and then it ends in tears. So I think for me, it's just to be open-minded, but also get someone who respects the fact that you're in this relationship to grow and not to serve other goodies, you know? Someone who will hold you accountable, but also open up their space to expose you to the different opportunities that they have. Because for me, that's my relationship with my mentor. I share with him about things I find on the internet, my opinions on different things. And it's a really healthy and progressive relationship. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So to our viewers out there, do not limit yourself. You have the potential to get any mentor that you want according to what growth you want, because you can grow professionally, you can grow spiritually, economically, and in all other aspects. So choose your mentors right. Do not discriminate any of them by class or age and whatever work they are doing. You know, you can be someone doing social sciences and you're being mentored by someone who is a big business person in town, and they will actually build. So Ruth, I want to ask you as well, are there any more difficulties that you've maybe identified with mentorship, or it's been a smooth journey?
Because Joan has hinted on the many difficulties I would have mentioned.
Okay.
So let me draw it to the spaces where I am a little different from organizations. I am serving in the Makerere University as the Guild Representative Counselor for the School of Law.
That's nice.
But also the Guild Minister for Gender. And by default, somehow, I am coordinating the female caucus of the Guild representatives in Makerere University. And as a female caucus, because it's one of the things I'm deeply passionate about is women in leadership.
Yes.
I will do anything to have women in leadership on any day, at any time. I'm willing to support a woman in leadership. So I desire to see more women in the leadership spaces of Makerere. Recently, the report came out and now Makerere has more women than the male students. But that is not reflected in our Guild Representative Council.
Thank you.
So the council has 104 councillors, and in our house only 29 were women. Yeah, and that is a very big difference. That is a very big difference. Out of 104, you only have 29 seats in a university that has more women than men. So we became intentional as a female caucus to see that we have more women in these spaces, to see that we actually introduce what you call the mentorship series. These run every Wednesday, where we have someone to come and talk about a particular topic. And we encourage these young ladies to reach out if there is something you want to get from maybe a woman who is in leadership and you want to learn something, or maybe one of the panelists for that week, you can reach out to them. Until last week, we had a successful partnership. We are now being joined by FarmFort.
Oh,
I want to thank FarmFort. Thank you, Sanyu, and everyone at FarmFort. So now FarmFort has joined as a partner, and we have started introducing the aspiring female leaders to aspects of female transformative leadership.
Yes.
And one of the challenges I've noted that for me, who knows the value of mentorship, I will look at it as a golden opportunity.
Yeah.
But the person who has not been there, they will not look at it with much value as you attach it.
Yeah.
So I think we need to do a lot more education around what a mentee gains from a mentorship relationship. Because for you now, Joan and Fancy and Patience who have been mentored, you know that it's a very beautiful journey. But right now you meet a young lady in university whose goal is maybe to become a JRC, and they don't see themselves beyond the JRC spaces. They don't know that this is a pathway into the women's spaces, and there are lots of opportunities in this space. So one of the challenges I'm seeing is that people are a little reluctant before they see the gains that are in it. And I think we need to be deliberate about encouraging them and exposing them to the opportunities that are in this journey.
That's really amazing. And she mentioned a very important point, the fact that the panel here is really young and it's the women's show here. What's the mantle we're putting on ourselves for those coming after us? I'm sure most of you have got some messages in your WhatsApp inboxes of, Joan, I want to be like you. Sheila, how can I be a part of this space? Or Ruth, I want to be GRC. Please, and you're like, how are you responding to them? Because it's how the women that have come after us or before us can easily actually share their trail of success. So Sheila, I just want to ask, maybe, are there challenges that organizations are facing while trying to organize these mentorship circles? And I realize Joan and Ruth have actually hinted on difficulties in individual lifestyles and also the solutions to them. So we want to hear your perspective on the challenges in the organizational structures and what are the solutions that you would probably suggest for them to adapt.
I don't know whether it draws to individuals that cause the organizational challenges, but I think it does. Yes. So organization does cause a challenge, same as the individual. So at times, Ruth would have gone through. Okay, Ruth is a good student. Let's use Sandra. Sandra. Sandra has gone through a Kina Mama, right?
Yes.
For the leadership, mentorship program. And she's been allocated to a mentor. 3 months down the road, Sandra does not account. She's not responsible. She's been told to do this. She's being invited. Please apply.
Joan.
And then she doesn't. So that's a great challenge to not only the mentor, but then to the whole program, right? But then now when we come to organization, I feel issues of probably funds, issues of copy and paste.
Yeah, sure.
You've seen the organization do it, you also want to do it.
The creativity is
lacking.
lacking.
There's creativity lacking. Because you cannot tell me, my all mentors should go through the same thing and be like, I've given you a book to read, read it. There's several ways to mentor people. Do not simply do the usual. Be creative. They're young people you're mentoring. I think many of them are mentoring young people. So these are young people. These are vibrant people who ideally can adopt to any particular kind of creativity. So if it's just having evening walks, that's a form of mentorship. I think this is a form of mentorship. Already. So this is not like the one I would sit in a conference room or be allocated. This is unique and different. So let organizations be creative.
Okay, that's a big one.
And let us, the mentees, I'm also a mentor. Let us, let the mentees, have an idea that this is a journey that shouldn't end. Of course, you have the guts, the ability, yes, at some point when you're done with what you needed, you can step out. But as young people, when you have been given an opportunity to mentor, because many of us do not know, because there's like a system in which you get it's not simple to be able to access a mentor. So when you get that opportunity, hold it like it's an egg. And if it drops down, it's gone. It should be your opportunity to grow. It should be your opportunity to be better. It should be your opportunity to get another opportunity to get another one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That's like the thing. So also I think one challenge around mentorship for organizations is, what is mentorship? What is mentorship? Like what is mentorship as a thing? Is it something that everyone is doing? Like, what's the idea behind mentorship? Because a circle saving space might
That's
not
also,
mentor. Like Joan would do mentorship in her space. She would do mentorship in an institution. So what is mentorship?
Yeah.
That should be redefined in different organizational spaces. Yeah.
That's amazing. And Fancy clearly actually brings out the aspect of organizations going back to the drawing board and seeing, is this working for our people? When you look at the 30, the 20 years we have come from, is it the same way, the way you would mentor people in 1990? Would it be the same way you're mentoring someone in 2022? I think we need to look at that, and that will improve the role of everyone in their various capacities in mentorship and in building this nation. Our viewers out there were speaking about the role of mentorship in the women's movement, and this is the Women's Show. I hope you're having fun. Please leave us a comment about the conversation that is here. And in a minute, I just want to hear from the panelists each the same question now. This is just one question that is going to go across. How do you get these mentorship spaces, or how can someone out there, a viewer, be able to get them? Did you just land on it on the internet? Was your mentor the one who sent it to you? And what are the available options? In a minute or two, what should they learn? I can start with, I think, Joan. How should they do it?
In my case,
yes,
the mentor reached out to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lucky.
so I was privileged, but also I had reached out to a couple of mentors, and the response, there was no response.
They ignored your text. Okay,
Like,
sorry
yeah.
about that.
Which happens, you know?
Yeah, it really does.
So for me, my mentor reached out to me, and then he would consistently reach out to me. You know, there are those people who are like guardian angels. They'll consistently reach out to you. And they're like, I think you should do this. I think you should do this. So after that, I talked to him and I said, are you comfortable becoming my mentor or taking me up and growing me in this field? And he was like, he was privileged.
Wow.
As much
that's
as
nice.
I was also privileged. Yeah, so from then we've had a very, very outstanding relationship. That was from 2020. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. And Sheila, how did you get into the mentorship spaces, or how can one get into that? So before you actually respond, the viewers out there, from Joan's perspective, the mentors will actually come for you at some point. And sometimes if they don't, clearly you can also initiate the conversation on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Divine intervention. Okay. Yes. I don't know, but I would say, even before you seek out a mentor, I mean, have your purpose defined, because that's how I got there.
Okay.
Like, I had things I named, and I'm like, I need to be like this. There's this I want.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of knew
What
where I
you
was
wanted,
going.
yes.
Right. So then I think my energies, which is like, I don't know how they call it in life. Like, life like channels you somewhere when you set. Exactly.
Yes.
So I think life channeled me to where I was, because I designed my personality and I said, I'm not going to lay back, because I needed to know information. There was a lot happening at that time. I was in my adolescent stage. So, you know, you're very inquisitive. There's so much happening. You want to know. And then I had this had planned. I'm like, I want to be this. I want to be there. I want to be like news anchor. What those things were there. I can't be. No,
Where are we now? It's been a long journey.
Yeah. So then I think that's how I got to, meet my mentor.
Yes.
And many other mentees that we've been, in the feminist movement. There's just so many.
So many.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. And Ruth, how did you get into the spaces, or how can one get into the spaces?
Thank you. The very first, as I said, the very first women's space I got in was Akina Mama Africa. And that was through the African Women Leadership Institute. How I got to know this opportunity. That time I was hungry for opportunities.
Nice.
I was hungry. I was always looking out for opportunities all the time. No one forwarded to me this email. No one shared this with me. I just subscribe to some website that always shares opportunities that are available around you.
Okay.
And that is how I got to know that Akina Mama was calling for applications for people to join the African Women Leadership Institute. And that was my very first entrance into these spaces. So from there, the very first time I'm having a mentor, I was attached to them because it was a program initiative to attach people to mentors. But from there, I learned that you can walk to someone.
Yeah.
For example, I walked to Maria Alessi.
Okay.
Eunice Musimi walked to me.
Nice.
Yeah, so the first one was attached, then some walked to you, others. But of course, you are walking to someone because there is something you identify and you see there is something you want to learn from them. Maybe a person like Eunice Musimi, I'm sure, walked to me because she saw my passion, she saw my zeal, and she loves mentoring. So I was a young woman she would easily mentor. So that's it. If you're hungry for opportunities, they're always there.
Wow.
Yeah.
But of course, when the mentorship relationship starts, one opportunity leads to the other. Another shares with you, and it then becomes easier for you to know which opportunities are around. And through that, you can always walk to or have people walk to you for mentorship.
That's amazing. You should share with us the link to that website in the comment section because for the other people watching to also get a hold of that. And indeed, our viewers, you can see on the Women's Show today, we're talking about the role of mentorship in the women's movement, and they have spoken about various ways in which they got their mentors. And I personally actually walked to Miriam Matembe about being mentored, and then in also the organizational structures. Honorable Amoding Monica was among the mentors, Honorable Aisha Waligo, and you can see we are a product of the mentors. So the viewers out there, do not sit back. Even when you're older than us or probably more experienced than us, it's not yet too late to get a mentor or a peer mentor in the sisterhood circles. There are a number of organizations doing this. I believe you've heard all of them speaking about all those various organizations that have mentorship spaces. To the organizations, you probably need to learn to also try and adjust the structure and make it more fun or unique, directly or indirectly, you know. And we have also learned that mentorship spaces can be your mentors, you can outlive them or outgrow them and change and get another mentor. It's not a must to be tied there, you know.
Do us part.
I know. Do us part. I know that's a very heavy life, but I hope you are enjoying the program with us as well. So earlier, before the break, I had mentioned that we were going to have an icebreaker about the Roe versus Wade case, but I'm going to make it a little broad to avoid, you know, ambushing the elegant ladies here. And someone say the internet nowadays is a whole courtroom. So I feel like we have already enough judges out there who have who have had the appeals and gone into another world. Yes. So maybe the question that I'll pass across to all of you is, what is the burning issue in the country that is so dear to you in the women's movement that maybe you want to speak about in a minute or two? And why I'm asking that is I just want to show a sample of what the mentorship has done to us already. You know, we want to show an action orientation of what we have already spoken about. Yes. So Sheila, do you want to share with us first?
Yes.
Yes.
I can.
Okay.
How much is the price of above soap?
Is it 10,000?
We may not all be driving. I don't know how to drive, but let's use the one that we normally soap, sugar, cooking oil. I mean, that is the burning issue right now.
Yes.
High prices of commodities, of life in general. And the budget is yet to be read. But then we're not sure where we are going. I don't feel comfortable that we're actually going to hit the right road. Why? We're having very few, all these conversations we've been seeing on television, radio, newspaper. I haven't seen intentional involvement of women in these conversations. And so that's why I'm like, I don't feel like we are heading to the right road amid this, because this is a challenge all of us are facing. And we're hit, I think, as women, girls, women, children are hit like 2 times or 3 times more with these challenges, basing on, you know, how society structure them, but also basing on the state of their, you know, livelihood in society and the nature of things they do and their profession and, you know, all that. So for me, that is really burning at the moment. And if we had only had conversations that, intentional conversations, intentional, meaningful, that involve us as representative of women and, you know, girls and children. If we had conversations, meaningful conversations that involve us, you know, in line with economic crisis at the moment, then yes, would be, you know, I would feel comfortable that amid this, what we are, well, you know, what's going on, we're headed to the right direction.
That's amazing.
Oh yes, this is not going to take, you know, solidarity is the tool to, you know, oppression. But then the solidarity we're having is like one arm solidarity. So how are we going to hit this oppression called economic crisis? So for me, that's really shaking, very shaking, and very disturbing.
I think they need to really work on it, and the leaders, the people who have been put there, please lead with actions so that we can also see at the next elections come with an impact. So Joan, I know you are very passionate about sexual reproductive health, and I'm already pointing to sorry for forcing you into a burning issue, but please.
My burning issue is going to be different.
Okay, yes.
So the burning issue is obviously the conversation in Roe versus Wade and what it means for gender equality in context of women's bodily autonomy, but also women living up to their fullest potential. Because I believe that laws are supposed to be in place to protect everyone. They're not supposed to limit people's choices. They're supposed to be as open as possible so that people can find a way of fitting within. But this is really regressional, especially for us, for instance, in a developing country where our laws have already been our laws are not cognizant of the situation that we have, that women are actually having unsafe abortions, that let's say we want to fight poverty, but we're not looking at the number of girls dropping out due to teenage pregnancy, or that we want women to contribute meaningfully to GDP, but we're not looking at the fact that they are going to have to stay home to take care of these children. And we're not even talking about the fact that accessing high quality maternity services is a cost. It is a lump sum in our economies. So I think it's really regressional and it's very disheartening. And I hope that the conversation keeps going around to remind us that women's organizing is relevant. If we think that the leaders, usually it's men still holding majority of power, if we believe that patriarchy is going to create room or voice for women's issues to come up as priority, it is not going to happen, because it's being manifest in situations like this, where women's voice or issues that affect women directly are being sidelined and being called peripheral. My second issue that is burning is something that Miss Salome Nakawes is saying. And she said that today we have so many women who have so much potential and yet they have zero politics. Like someone, let me give an example. In a certain group, I called someone feminist because all they were saying was pro-women. Yes. And then the person said, no, I'm not feminist. For me, I can, you know?
Yes.
So that whole conversation of us understanding that not all women will be feminists, that is one. But also that we need to be intentional about this whole mentorship that we are doing.
Yeah, that's
even
true.
when we are having conversations about issues that affect women. How are we politicizing these issues? For instance, there is the issue of commodity prices. How are we politicizing it to amplify voice for women? There is the issue of teachers are on strike now in public schools.
Yes.
Girls are already dropping out of school due to menstruation and other related challenges. How are we amplifying voice to say this is a women's issue? Climate change is a women's issue. How do we politicize all these issues that are happening? And it still goes down to consciousness and mentorship. We need to educate ourselves. We need to pull ourselves from wherever we are.
From sleeping on the job.
And build more consciousness, especially online as well. Because someone is being body shamed online.
And just watching.
Right? And we find it funny. Like, they'll talk about Ruth's eyes. Okay, there is nothing wrong with Ruth's eyes. just for the record.
Mm.
And people will find it funny, you know? And yet everything is political, especially at a time where women's autonomy, women's image is subject to so many conversations, you know? Women's leadership is being scrutinized. They only look out for the bad things.
Yeah.
So I think those are the emerging issues.
Yes, and our viewers out there, from what they're already saying, I intentionally brought in this question because I just wanted us to know that it's a reflection of the mentorship we have been through and the knowledge we are learning and the fact that we are aware of what's happening. Now, Ruth, I know you for being in leadership spaces. Tell us or showcase you a leader in nursery school, because I literally I see the whole chain of growth. So I don't know what your burning issue is, but I've also pushed you to the brim towards leadership and politics. I don't know. Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm drawing from where Sheila and Joan stopped. Firstly, where Sheila had stopped, my burning issue, in addition to all the other burning issues I could have, the budget and everything around the budget, and special one this year that we have a new concept of the parish development model, under which 100 million Uganda shillings is going to be sent to every parish. My issue is I've looked at the pillars onto which the parish development model is hinged, and when you look at, say, agriculture in this country and women in agriculture, most of the women are practicing subsistence agriculture. So by default, they might not be in position to benefit from these funds that are allocated to this model. So we need mentorship around making sure that women are ready, they are organized, that when such opportunities come, they can ably benefit from that. And then secondly, leadership. Right now, Makerere University is in a leadership season. We desire to see more women in the leadership spaces of the university. It's my call to all women lovers and people who love mentorship. We have a lot of young women who are running for positions. Find time, come, speak to them. Find one woman you can support throughout the journey. That way we shall be practicing what we say and providing for a continuity in the chain of mentorship.
Yes. Wow, that's amazing. So our viewers, we have had an amazing conversation. Would probably want to go on and on because when women meet to speak, we really speak with passion, and these are matters pertinent to our hearts. From what they have said on the burning issues, there is so much burning things out there, but we can't speak about them in just 1 hour. And we hope you can tune in again with us on the Women's Show next time. But then before we leave or close, I just want a minute, actually 30 seconds, for my panelists to give their parting shots about that topic of the role of women, of mentorship in the women's movement. From Joan?
I think all the women need to be humble, because for you to be mentored, you need to accept that you don't know everything.
Yes.
And you need to learn. So the summary is be humble, always be ready to learn and unlearn and relearn.
Okay. And fancy Sheila?
I think all mentors should make mentorship pretty simple. Do not go by so much formality. Use whatever resources you have around you. Make mentorship fun. Do not make it a white man's idea or science rocketing, because then we are young and we love things that
full of energy.
It's an energy entertainment. So make mentorship as simple as possible.
Okay. And Ruth?
Thank you so much. I think one thing we need to learn, mine goes to the mentees. Let's make this relationship work. You came to learn something, be willing to learn, be willing to be teachable.
Okay. Thank you so much. Our viewers, once again, this has been the Women's Show, and we have been talking about the role of mentorship in the women's movement. We have cut across talking about the role of organizations, our individual lives, our experiences. We gave shout outs to our mentors. We didn't give to our mentees because there are probably very many directly and indirectly. But But to the mentors out there, I think you're seeing a great panel here, and all the viewers out there, you're seeing the already growing impact of mentorship. We cannot rule out learning for any leader out there. I think that's why even presidents have advisors, because they have to be told, this is the way, this is the way, you know. And you have to also know that mentorship has to be intentional. You have to put in your all, be able to be accountable, be passionate about it, and have a plan to grow and learn. And we need to evolve, be flexible in the mentorship. So I want to hear from you in the comment section, and we hope you can join in on the women's show next week, same time. And we also hope you can join in on all other programs of Civic Space TV. Thank you.